In a recent op-ed that appeared in the Globe and Mail, MLI Munk Senior Fellow Duanji Chen details Beijing's aggressive responses to Canada's arrest of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou following an extradition request from the United States. Having already engaged in the unlawful detention of Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, China has moved further to ban Canadian canola, soybeans, and other food products. China's continuing campaign of economic coercion is designed to pressure Canada into releasing Ms. Meng. The disparity in economic power between Canada and China has led some observers to comment that we need China and China doesn't need us, or alternatively, that we're only a flea sitting on China's shoulder. The suggestion is that there's little the Canadian government can or should do in response to Chinese economic coercion. Yet that pessimistic view needs to be rejected. Canada has some significant advantages, and China is taking some serious risks. For instance, the majority of our exports to China are commodities, for which the supply is constrained by access to natural resources. Meanwhile, all our imports from China are manufactured goods that are easily replaceable from suppliers in other markets, despite perhaps higher prices. Indeed, cultivating more reliable suppliers for such goods will benefit Canada economically in the long run. The long-term prospects for our farmers facing China's ban on our food products do not seem so dire. Even with the ban on canola, the total area planted is expected to climb. Canola seed exports will be still higher than in the past, and canola oil production will increase over the longer term. Still, Canadian farmers deserve support from the government in the near term due to political disruptions beyond their control. The canola story reflects general global trends for other commodities dependent upon natural resources, particularly edible ones, specifically that global markets for our agri-products and other natural resources have been generally stable. China's bans of Canadian agri-products will not change the global demand for those products. Indeed, China's disruptive play will only cause growing distrust amongst its trade partners, which in turn will adversely affect China's long-term security in food supply. A Chinese ban on all our food products would total about $10 billion for the coming year, and that potential loss would increase to $16.4 billion if China ever decided to bar its tourists from Canada and to recall its students studying in Canada. That's not a likely outcome, but it does show the limits of China's ability to apply economic coercion against Canada. Finally, the Chinese economic juggernaut is showing signs of wear. It's suffering from severe shortages of arable land, persistent economic disparity, an aging population, and a growing popular desire for the benefits of foreign competition. Importantly for Canada, its need for agricultural imports will only continue to grow. Canada also has some immediate options that should be used to counter China's economic coercion. We could ban Huawei from any involvement in Canada's 5G wireless network, given that it poses a direct threat to our national security. Ottawa can also register and scrutinize all the research and development funding sources from China and sever the ones that aim to steal our intellectual property. Canadian farmers coping with China's economic coercion could also use support from the government. This could entail expanding existing insurance programs, with some of the funds potentially coming from the diversion of our capital share in the China-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Regarding that bank, Canada could withdraw its membership, thereby leaving an organization that serves as an important institutional representation of China's global power. In the long term, Canada should be taking every measure to diversify our trade beyond China. Taiwan has been vigilantly doing so for years, and Canadians should take note of its efforts to achieve greater resilience against China's economic coercion. Such trade diversification should be part of Canada's long-term strategy in the Indo-Pacific region. With its growing economic size, China believes it can act at will against any country. Yielding to China's coercion, economic or otherwise, will only embolden it. What we want from China is for it to behave like an equal member of the international community, which is how we see ourselves and how we treat, for example, the United States. The world will be a better place when China sees itself as an equal member of the international community and respects international norms. I'm Brian Lee Crowley for the Macdonald Laurier Institute.